So now that our player can kill the enemy with his sword and with his throwing knives, we will have to make sure that the enemy can kill the player as well. Because else it's not a very fun game and it's not a fair fight at all if you can just go there and kill the enemy whenever you want to without any resistance or any combat. So we need to add a sword collider to our enemy. And to do so, we can select the enemy and we can go to the sprites and then find an attack animation. Just write attack, not a jump attack, just a normal one. Should have a normal attack. There we go. We need something with, yeah, there. Okay, so now we have an attack animation and we can simply take the sword collider from our player, duplicate it and move it to our enemy and then enable it so we can see it. And then we can take this collider and move it all the way to our enemy. I think these sprites are made so that they have the same size. We can see here. Then just take the sword collider and make it cover the enemy's half moon thing here when she attacks. When you've done that, just rename it to sword collider. And we'll need to retag this because it shouldn't be a sword collider, it should be the enemy sword collider, because right now she might be colliding with it herself or something else herself. But disable it, click on the tag, add a new tag and add a tag called enemy sword. Then we have to go to the player and we have to find the player script, and in the player script up here we have something called damage sources. I hope you can see this from my image down here. If not, then just listen to what I'm saying. You click on damage sources to expand it, and then you write, instead of 0, write 2, and then you write enemy knife and you write enemy sword. Here we go. So now we have an enemy knife and an enemy sword as damage sources. Okay, the next thing we'll have to do is to create the take damage function for our player. So go into your script and find the take damage function in the player. And here we'll have to check something. First of all, we need to say health minus equal 10, because we also reduce our health with 10 when we take damage. Then we say if dead is dead. So if we're not dead, well, then we need to take damage. So we say my animator dot set trigger damage. And that's basically what we're going to do here. If we are dead, we make an else statement, and else we say my animator dot set trigger die. And then we have to yield return null down here. We will change this a little around, so we will be immortal for a while. So this will be changed around, so we don't return null, we will return a time at some point. But let's just test this out first. If we die, we will also have to change our layer weight, because if we are in the air and we die, we don't want it to play the air animation until we hit the ground. So we will simply say my animator dot set layer weight 1 0. So we are sure we are in our ground layer as the player, no matter what, when we are dead. Okay, so if we save this and we jump into Unity and find our animations under our player, let's see, we have death and it's looping. We don't want it to loop, so remove the loop time so we don't give that worm as we did before. And the damage here, it doesn't need to loop either. Then we make sure that we have the player's animator and we have set up the damage and we have set up the death. That's fine. And we have the correct die there, and we have damage up to damage, yeah. And remember to remove everything. Good. So let's actually see what you have under the prefab. We have our enemy knife and it's tagged as enemy knife, and it does have a collider on it. So let's see if we can take damage from the knife before we add the collider to the enemy for the sword. Let's see here. And then I died. Yes. Okay, so I have 0 health as my player, but I just died, and it works fine then. So click on our player. Let's try to give ourselves a little more health. Let's say we have 20 health, so let's say 30 like the enemy, so we can take 3 hits before we die. Let's see what happens. It's 1 hit, we took the damage. 1 more hit, we took the damage again, and 1 more hit and I died. Okay, so you saw when I took the damage, it bounced me back, and that's because of the pivot point of my damage animations, a damage sprite. So to fix that little bounce back when we take the damage, we will have to go to our sprites and find the character, and then we have to find the damage here. I need to make sure which one is the right one. Let's see here, we have, let's just find take damage. There, we have these two. So select both of them in your sprite folder, and then go to the pivot point and select custom. And here we can set up some values here so it doesn't bounce back. And in my notes I wrote that it would be nice to use 0.3 as X. So make sure you have selected both of them, selected the specific pivot point as custom, and then set X to 0.3 and then apply it. So if we play the game now, I think he shouldn't be bouncing back as he just did before. And there we go. So now he basically takes damage on the spot. But I am still able to move when I take damage, and I'm able to move when I'm dead, and I can jump up when I'm dead like this. But we'll fix that. Whoa, this is nice. But we will also need to be able to take damage from the sword. Click on the enemy to do that, and on the enemy script here we have a sword collider which is not set. So take the sword collider and drag it onto the spot here, and then we'll have to select the enemy animation by going to animation, click on the enemy and click on enemy attack, find the 5th frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, select the add event, double click on the add event, go to the function and select melee attack. So let's see if the enemy actually can damage us with her melee attack now. And she can't, and the reason that he can't is because we haven't tagged it as an enemy collider. So click on the sword collider and enemy sword, and let's try one more time. Maybe you already did this and you thought why I didn't do it. So let's see, hit, and then I died. Okay, but as you can see, it didn't play the damage because it didn't play the, what is it called? It didn't play the damage animation. Let's see if we can get close to her. There we go. It looks a little weird now because we haven't fixed a lot of things. We can try to make sure that we have a little more health, so we can take a few more hits to see if what we need to fix. Let's say we have 50 health. I can even see if I can get past her knife. Let's see. Then I died. Okay, so there's a few things we'll need to fix, of course. The sword collider is fine now, but let's make sure we can't move and do all these things so it doesn't look weird. So first of all, we'll need to make sure that we can't move when we are taking damage. So let's open our script and go to our update function, and inside the update function we'll have to make sure that we can't move if we're taking damage. Let's find it here. So in update we have to make an if statement. It says if taking damage is false, and we already set up taking damage in the animation. Move all this in here, and also in fixed update we have to say if taking damage is false, then we can do all these things. There we go. So if we save now, we shouldn't be able to move anymore when we take a hit from the enemy. Let's see, if I move and I get hit, I'm still able to slide. So let's see here, because I think I didn't add the taking damage, what is it called, behavior to my take damage in the player. So click on the player go to the animator and go to the ground layer, and here we have the damage, and as you can see there is no taking damage behavior on it. So click add behavior and add the damage behavior to it. Also click add. We don't have a death behavior yet. We need to add a death behavior at some point, but for now add the damage behavior. And if we play the game now, the player should stop moving when we take damage. There we go. So you can see he still slides, so we need to set his what's it called, rigid body velocity to 0. You can see, because we can slide, but I'm not able to start moving if I get hit, I think. Yeah, so I can't start moving. So if we open up the damage behavior, then we will have to make sure that our velocity is 0. So up here we have to say if our animator dot game object dot tag is equal to player. So if this is the player, then we say animator dot, actually we can just do like this. We can actually say animator dot get component rigid body 2D dot velocity equals vector 2 dot 0. We don't really need to check if it's the player, but it doesn't matter if we set it to 0. So right now we just set the velocity to 0 so that he doesn't keep moving. So let's try again. Play the game here. We move, we get hit and we stop, and we try to run away. We get hit and we stop. So now we can't move while taking damage anymore. And then I died. Okay, so as you can see here, I can still move when I'm dead, and we don't want to be able to move when we are dead. So next thing we'll have to do is to go to my player, and in here we have to say and is dead. And the same goes for our update. We'll only be able to do this if we are not taking damage and we're not dead. So if we save this and jump back, then we shouldn't be able to do anything while we are dead now. Let's try. One hit, and then I died. And now I can't do anything anymore. I can't move, I can't jump and do all these things. So I also noticed that the melee damage tag behaves very weird on the enemy. So we can try to select the enemy here so we can see his colliders and see what's wrong here. If I run towards him, he attacks me, and then the melee collider actually comes up at the wrong time. As you can see, it's up right now, and it's not supposed to be up right now, it's supposed to be up later. So to fix this, we can actually just make sure that he can't put it up at the wrong time. So go to the character and find the melee attack and say sword collider enabled equals true. So set it as true when we do the melee attack, and then go to the damage behavior. Not the damage behavior, we have an attack behavior, and down here just set instead of melee attack here, set character dot get dot sword collider. Don't we access that? So we need to access the sword collider in here and set it to active. So go to the character, up in the top, find the sword collider, right click on it, quick actions, encapsulate field, and then it comes up down here, remove the set. So you only have the get. Rename this sword collider to sword collider with non-capital S. It should never be with capital S. I don't know why I did that. And remove one from this one. So you have a sword collider field with non-capital S here. And you have a property called sword collider with capital S that returns the sword collider. If you can't encapsulate the field, you can write this code yourself. And then go to the attack behavior and replace the attack function with sword collider equals dot enabled equals false. Let's see here, sword collider here. So now we're enabling it in melee attack. We can actually make this, it should be public. We enable it in melee attack, and we are disabling it when we are done attacking here inside the attack behavior. So let's try to save, and let's go back, and let's see if it works better now. Now she attacks me, and it pops up. Didn't pop unassigned variable, so now it needs to be reassigned, of course. So click at the enemy, find the sword collider that is not assigned here, because we renamed it so it doesn't know it's the same, and take her sword collider and pull it onto the slot here, and play the game again. And then we jump up here and attack. It works perfectly now. Attack, yeah, so she hits me the correct way now, and then I died, and I can't move. So now it works more realistic, so to say. Can try again. We can try to jump over her. Then she attacks me. She attacks me, and then she attacks me, and I can kill her, and she can kill me. So now it says the sword collider and the player has not been assigned, and that's also because the player is a character. So we need to click on him, find the sword collider here, and take his own sword collider and pull it onto this spot here. There we go. So I think that's it for this video. Now we can actually kill the enemy, and she can kill us. As you can see here. In the next video we will look at how we can indicate immortality on the player so that he starts to blink. And right now the enemy is dead, and she just keeps attacking him. We will also have to add some functionality so that she just moves along, like starts to idle or something when the player is dead, because there's no point in trying to kill someone who's dead. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to follow my social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to this channel. That's very important that you do that. Yeah, also if you want to support me, you can do it in different ways, because remember that InScope Studios is a community founded page. So if you want to support me, you can do it on Patreon or by acquiring one of my projects. If you do it on Patreon, then you can get some different perks, for example, all my projects, and you can also get some private tutoring if you want to. Again, thank you very much for watching.